You ever feel it? That tightening in the chest before something breaks, not from fear, but from anticipation. That's where we are now. The Empire is about to realize it was never in control. They never had the upper hand. The trap Rimuru laid wasn't just tactical, it was existential. And now it's closing. This is part 2 of the Imperial invasion from That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Volume 13. The stakes aren't just higher, they're personal. The facade of diplomacy is over, the masks are off. And what's revealed isn't just power, it's intent. See, war doesn't declare itself with cannons or orders. It begins in the silence before a scream. The Empire thought it had invaded a nation of monsters, but they walked into a theater of gods wearing human skin. And the audience? Us. Watching every moment as the illusion of supremacy dissolves, one fatal miscalculation at a time. The battlefield divided across 3 fronts: land, sky, shadows. Gobta and Ranga, underestimated for far too long, crashed through the front lines with speed that bends sound itself. Gabil and Team Hiryu, hidden beneath Dragonute restraint, finally erupt into the sky like living missiles. And in the darkness behind enemy lines, Akuro's green numbers move like smoke, seen only when it's already too late. But here's the catch. None of this was an accident. Rimuru wanted them to think Tempest was vulnerable, weak. He wanted the Empire to underestimate his people. This entire front, a decoy, a baited snare. One that not only revealed the Empire's capabilities, but triggered their overconfidence. And right when they bought into that lie, Rimuru flipped the switch. The tempo changes. You feel it instantly when Gobta transforms. This isn't just a power-up moment, it's a declaration. Merging with Ranga wasn't a gimmick. It was evolution, deliberate, terrifying, precise. The carefree goblin becomes something monstrous, something surgical. Dance with Wolves isn't just a flashy name, it's a calculated purge. Dark lightning, voice cannon, they're not skills anymore. They're surgical tools, dissecting the Empire's forward tanks like tissue. And yet, you can't look away. Because deep down, you always knew Gobta wasn't a joke. That the humor, the innocence, it was armor. And now it's shed. What you're watching isn't a joke stepping up, it's a warrior finally seen. Meanwhile, in the skies, Gabil does what no Empire general could predict. He stalls. Not out of fear, but patience. He waits for Rimuru's command, and when it comes, when the mask drops, the third core becomes myth. Dragonutes undergo dragon body. Not a spell, not a transformation, but a contract with instinct itself. Muscle becomes armor, magic becomes breath. Their very skin sings with magical resonance. But they don't lose control, that's the key. Gabil's leadership, his conviction, it binds them tighter than instinct ever could. They don't just ascend, they remain themselves, soldiers, warriors, believers. That restraint, that duality, it terrifies the enemy far more than raw power ever could. Now the airships fall like hail, one after another, swallowed by vortex crash and claw strikes so precise they rewrite what Dragonutes even are. These are no longer scouts. They are executioners of the sky. The Empire's flying combat corps? Shredded. Torn from the air not by chaos, but choreography. Every blow deliberate, every kill earned. And still, it gets worse. Because the Empire thinks it understands what's happening. It doesn't. Major General Faraga watches from his command ship, paralyzed. He sees Gabil's form and makes the fatal leap. That must be Veldora. Why? Because that's the only way he can make it make sense. Their attacks are useless. Their data is outdated. Their pride is crumbling, so they rewrite reality to preserve it. He's not a Dragonute. He's the Storm Dragon in disguise. It's a delusion, but a seductive one, because if they can capture Veldora, then the cost of losing a third of their fleet becomes acceptable. Heroic, even. A noble sacrifice for an imagined victory. So Faraga makes the call. Release the magic cancelers. Over 70 airships concentrate fire on a single target. And here's where it gets savage. It works. For a moment, Gabil freezes. They cheer, they believe. But that single pause becomes their death knell. Because it wasn't weakness, it was adaptation. Gabil rides the wave of magical disruption, lets it teach him. And when Ultima retrieves him from the fallout, he doesn't stagger, he grins. Not because he survived, but because he evolved. This is where the Empire dies. Not on the ground, not in the air, but in the space between perception and truth. They built their entire strategy on what they thought Tempest was. And that image? Shattered. But Rimuru's design doesn't stop there. While the skies burn, the earth bleeds. Hakuro and the green numbers carve through the Empire's backlines like ghosts. There's no flash, no sound, just disappearance. One supply line after another severed with surgical detachment. These aren't rookie troops. These are men and women forged in darkness, trained under a man who sees battle as poetry and demands his soldiers become verses. Ultima arrives, not with a roar, but a smile. Her entrance is fire from heaven, flare bombs, strategic spellfire, an entire rear force turned to ash. But it's her demeanor that cuts deepest. Playful, cheerful, delighted. And that's what makes her terrifying, because cruelty doesn't need to scream. It just needs to smile. Gaster, the Empire's prized commander of the Magitank force, crumbles before her. Mind Requiem, his ace skill, does nothing. She's not just resisting, she's bored. And as the Imperial Intelligence Bureau operatives arrive, disguised as allies, the real curtain lifts. Davis, Balt, Gordon, the Imperial Guardians. Their confidence is heavy. They think they know who they face, but they don't know she was once sealed as Blanc. They don't understand that Testarossa isn't like Blanc. She is her, and she remembers. This moment, it's not a fight, it's a reckoning. Every attempt to bind her is an echo of a past mistake. Chains break, relics disintegrate. The Guardians realize too late that they aren't sealing a demon. They're provoking one that let them live once. They won't get that chance again. And Gaster? He begs. He throws away pride, hierarchy, honor. All of it dissolved in the face of pure, smiling annihilation. But there's no mercy in Tempest now. Because that was the trap. You thought this was a war of equals. It wasn't. The Empire brought tanks to a magic fight. They brought arrogance to a nation of monsters who learned restraint and chose to stop holding back. Tempest never needed victory. They designed it. The question isn't, how did the Empire lose? It's, why did they ever think they could win? And that's what Rimuru wanted all along. Not just to stop an invasion, but to burn the illusion of Imperial invincibility so completely, no one would ever dare test them again. And as the smoke rises and the battlefield falls silent, one truth remains. They didn't invade a nation. They woke a nightmare.